So thank you for joining me again. So I didn't go to Clay, I think is how it's pronounced. I was corrected. Because my brother reminded me of a trail. This is the Columbia River behind me. We're high above it. There's a highway down there. I think it's Highway 30, so I apologize for the highway noise. There's also a waterfall right here. We're about 50 to 100 feet above the start of a waterfall. There's a giant cliff right there. I'll put in some B-roll. Honestly, I'm a little queasy of heights. I'm in an uncomfortable place, if that makes sense. But this trail, my brother reminded me of it, is if you go all the way to the top, is Angel's Rest. Very beautiful up there. I kind of stopped to rest here. I don't know if I'll go all the way up or not. I kind of know my limits. I felt like I really needed to stop and rest. It was steep uphill. This whole way I started down by the water. And I've been at this for maybe about 20 minutes, 30 minutes walk. Really steep hill. It's a great one. So this is perfect. I like this hill better. And I'm maybe 2/3 of the way up. If the next video I'm up there, it'll be tomorrow, and I'll definitely go a little bit further each day. But I was really prayerful about this, and as I was walking yesterday and filming, I brought up the book of Jude, I thought about it, like, why did I even bring that up? So I believe there's something to that. It just randomly came out as I was talking, and I was praying for the Spirit to be with me, and I'm prayerful that He's here now. I believe He is. It's so beautiful up here. And I believe that the book of Jude is what we're to go through. So I'm going to start with Jude 1. Jude, a servant of Jesus Christ and brother of James, to those who are called, sanctified by God the Father, and preserved in Jesus Christ. Mercy, peace, and love be multiplied to you. When I was first looking at this and I was walking up here, I was going to go on to the next verse and talk about that, but even as I was just sitting here talking, I asked the Spirit to be present, and He stopped me right then and there, because actually I had this whole thought on verses 3 and 4, but I'm going to stop there because the Spirit said to. And I really think we have to be mindful of that stuff. Like, not to kind of get off task here, but we have to be mindful of that. The weird, like you say, it just says this little thing. It's like, stop there, or go, move on, or take a left, take a right. And we have to be mindful of that, especially those who are called, sanctified by God the Father, and preserved in Jesus Christ. That's a lot. That's a great sentence right there, because I strongly believe that I'm called to be about my Father's business because He's my Father. And I know many of you feel called. The emails and the messages I get from you guys, I know you feel called. And I believe that's really about somebody who's taken care of you and guarded over you and provided for you and protected you and disciplined you perfectly like a good loving Father. I think we are naturally called, when we recognize what that is, I think we're just naturally called to do the things that our Father does and be about His business, because He's that good to us. And if you're like me, you rebelled from probably about 11 years old to about 25. And even beyond that, so much rebellion in that. But over time, I tightened up my bootstraps for Him. I just kind of was more about business. And I think that's what is called to sanctified, like preserved in Jesus Christ. I mean, what a beautiful thing, this idea of being sanctified by God the Father and preserved in Jesus Christ. And that's who this is written to. And I think that's why, I had to stop there and talk about, well, who is this written to? It's written to me, and it's written to you, if you are called, sanctified by God the Father, and preserved in Jesus Christ, this is to you. And I think a lot of times people don't really take the time to study out Jude. I mean, it's only one chapter, 25 verses. But this is to you. And I think it's important we focus on it, and as I walk up here and, with my dog Benjamin, and, there was this part that was steep, and it was just, the path was all just big stones, and there was just a drop down cliff to the left. And that stuff freaks me out a little bit, I'm not gonna lie, but I just kept climbing. It just kind of felt like what Moses must have felt like climbing Mount Zion, or, just like go up to the top and hang out up there for however long, and he just climbed on up there. I think there's something, I don't know what this is, but there's something to it. That I know. It's probably as high as I'll go today. Pretty high up there. I don't think the camera does it justice. It's definitely the highest I've climbed in a couple of years for sure. But I'm going to try to get to the top. I'll definitely get to the top in the next 10 days. So I guess 8 days. I'll definitely get to the top. Maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day. I don't know. I'll get higher each day, that's for sure. But if you've ever been to Angel's Rest, comment. It's a beautiful place. I went up there as a kid a few times because we strangely lived around, like I was born and raised in Kansas City, and I live in Kansas City now, in Kansas City area. But when I was 1, my parents moved to Timber, Oregon, which is kind of halfway between Portland and the ocean. Little tiny town. I think it's like 3 houses, a post office, a bar, and a fire station, and that was it. I think it's still 3 houses, a post office, a bar, and a fire station. But then they went back before I started kindergarten. And then in 3rd grade, they kind of made another run at it. My mom and stepdad, and we were only here maybe for like 10 months, and they went back. But I remember coming up here with my brother, hiking this hill, and then I came here with my kids a few years back and hiked this hill, and it's been a while, but man, it sure is beautiful. The Columbia River Gorge is so pretty, Multnomah Falls, and just beautiful, beautiful area. But I'm glad to be here. God's definitely here. It's places like this that you see God's majesty. Romans 1, I'm just going to read it real quick. Spirit said do it, so we're just going to do whatever the Spirit says. But Romans 1, starting in 18, for the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and all unrighteousness of men, who suppress the truth in unrighteousness. Because what may be known of God is manifest in them, for God has shown it to them. For since the creation of the world, his invisible attributes are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so they are without excuse. And you look at stuff like this and you think, well, you're without excuse. Like, how could you look at this and not see God in all this? How? Man, I can just feel him here. He's here. He's right here. To those who are called, sanctified by God the Father, and preserved in Jesus Christ, mercy, peace, and love be multiplied to you. So mercy, peace, and love be multiplied to you. Keep joining me. I'll see you tomorrow.